call upon any energies, any astral beings, anything from the good or the negative to come forward. Use the sound of the vibration of the bells.
What was that?
Thought I saw somebody stood there.
Whoever's in the shadows over there, come forward.
Raymond Leslie Morris murder you. The fuck was that then? Hi guys, here we are. We're at Cannock Chase. It's Saturday the 30th, day before Halloween. Obviously tonight we've got our meet, the Birches Valley area of Cannock Chase, and we're going to be looking for the black-eyed child. But we got here a little bit early, and we thought we'd check out some other locations. You've been doing research into this one, haven't you? So do you want to tell us about some of the locations we're going to look at?
Yeah, so some of the locations that we're going to look at in a minute are completely different to the last time we came here. Last time we came here was 2018, so we haven't been to Cannock Chase for a long time. And last time we focused on Birches Valley and just the Castle Ring area, which is quite famed for UFOs.
We split up last time, didn't we? That was quite scary, to be honest.
We did, yeah, and it was pretty terrifying. We're going to look at several other locations that we didn't cover last time. To be honest, the whole area of Cannock Chase is that vast. There are that many stories that you could tell about the site. So we're going to cover a few of them in what time we do have before tonight comes and we start investigating Birches Valley.
Yep, so where do you want to head to first?
Well, there's where to go first? I say there's a couple of UFO stories that I know. So we'll travel to one of the stories. Let's go to the Pye Green area of Cannock Chase.
Yep.
There's a really interesting story that happened there. So let's go there.
Something we've discussed, I mean, you're obviously going to know this. Over the years, we've always said to each other, where would you not want to be on your own on an investigation sort of thing? And for some reason, we've both said Cannock Chase in the past, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which, when we were here last time, I wouldn't say we got a massive amount of evidence or anything crazy happened, but there's something about this place, isn't there? This forest in the dark is just, it's so eerie, and there's so many stories.
I think that's the that's the key to this. There are that many stories. It's not just a supernatural element of just ghosts. You've got the stories of aliens and UFOs and unidentified flying objects. You've got stories of cryptid creatures like werewolves and Bigfoot creatures and big cats. So you've got all sorts of unknowns.
The black-eyed child. I mean,
the black-eyed child.
What a sinister thing that is. For anyone who's done any research into, I believe they call them Becks or black-eyed kids, it's really is terrifying stuff. It really is as dark as the paranormal gets. So we'll head to, you said Pye Green?
Pye Green, I think, for the first story. Yeah, first UFO story.
Okay. And we'll go and have a look. See you there.
Right guys, so we're now here at the Pye Green area of Cannock Chase, and I'm going to retell a story of a UFO abduction. For this story, this is one that I've learned from a book that I purchased a long time ago called UFOs, Werewolves and the Pigman. So this is an abduction story that happened in 2009, and it involves a young man called Mark. Mark disappeared for well over 6 hours one misty morning in 2009. After leaving a birthday party in the Pye Green area of Cannock Chase, Mark and two of his friends, Paul and Ian, decided to make their walk home shorter by cutting through a small section of thick, dark, seemingly harmless woodland.
So just pause you there, that is exactly where we are now. So they've cut through from that side to that side. That is the woodland right now, and that is the Pye Green Tower you can actually see in the background up there. And that is a random creepy ass chair that's just here in the middle of the woodland with us.
Yeah. So that's nice. At the time, unbeknown to them, their chosen route on that fateful morning seems to have attracted or disturbed some unexplainable otherworldly force that still torments one of them to this very day. As they strolled carelessly through the trees, laughing, joking, and generally acting like drunken young adults, they report a sudden panic manifesting within all three of them, when one single flash of light overhead and a thunderous almighty bang, the group fell to the ground. They described feeling totally paralysed, like they were being physically pinned to the damp and dirty soil. This dysfunction lasted for less than 1 minute, and soon after the terrified teenagers were able to clamber to their feet. Only then did they realise that Mark was missing. No trace of him could be found. They searched the woods, calling out his name, but all to no avail. So both of his friends, Paul and Ian, were very puzzled and extremely worried, as you can imagine. In fact, within about half an hour, the men had actually woken up the other friends and dragged them out of bed to assemble a search party. Speaking from the individuals involved, it had become apparent that not all of them believed Paul and Ian's story at the time. But when the search reached its 4th hour, the makeshift rescue team decided to leave, suggesting that Mark had probably made his way home. Fast forward to 7 AM, when Paul and Ian get a phone call from their friend Lane, who had been part of the search team, claiming to have found Mark and describing to have found him in an unusual state of shock. The two friends hastily made their way to Elaine's house to find Mark stood in the front garden, shaking violently and gazing at the early morning sky. Elaine said that Mark had been stood in the same place since she got home from the search. Her house was well over 3 miles away from the location of his disappearance, and well over 6 hours had passed since Mark had gone missing. So how can that be explained?
So that's interesting. So basically he lost 6 hours of his life, effectively.
Yeah.
Just vanished into nothingness.
Just vanished into nothingness, but it goes a bit deeper than that. Basically, Mark, even to this day, I believe, according to the book, still experiences flashbacks, and I believe it's on like a weekly basis. Like Mark talks about seeing this shadowy figure. As said in the book here, he was strapped to a hard black table, and what he describes as an evil presence stood over watching him and whispering continuously in a language he couldn't decipher. So there was some sort of...
That is strange.
Yeah, so a strange being talking over him in a strange language he couldn't decipher. He was strapped on a table. He was dressed head to toe in black, and had bright yellow eyes with shining sharp teeth. But the light in the room is that dim, his face is difficult to make out.
And that all took place as he was cutting through this passageway through the Pye Green area of Cannock Chase. The one thing about your story that stands out, well, I say your story, Lee Brickley's story, that stands out to me, I believe you said it's 2009.
Yes.
Now, a lot of the hauntings we go to and sightings and, well, everything we cover, a lot of it's dated. So it could have happened in the 60s or the 1800s, or
Yes.
and there's a lot of, it's very dated. But 2009, although it may seem it, really in the grand scheme of things isn't that long ago.
Exactly.
Just over 10 years ago. So it's still very modern history, so to speak. In fact, I think we would have been out investigating various locations. We would have been out investigating at that very point. So that intrigues me, the fact it's so so modern.
Well, a bit later on, we're going to go to a different location for another UFO story. Now, the other UFO story is a little bit older, but it's still fairly recent. It was from 2002. So
I believe with Cannock Chase, a lot of these stories, they sort of haven't stopped. So it's not that they're all modern stories, it's just been going on for that long, and reoccurring sightings and UFO abduction stories, etc. Exactly. It just didn't seem to stop, so that's interesting.
Especially with the UFO phenomena that happens here, it does seem to be quite a constant thing. And obviously when we say UFO, we don't actually know if this is alien or whether this is something, maybe some sort of secret technology. We don't know what the UFO actually is. But with a story like this, for example, I can't explain that.
No, I can't explain that. It's either a very, very elaborate story or terrifying, one or the other.
Yeah.
So it looks like we could be keeping an eye out above us as well as all around us tonight.
Well, you know I will be.
So where are we going to head to next then?
So I think we're going to go to a place now called Gaskins Woods.
Gaskins Woods. Now I think you've told me the story, and it's the story that intrigued me the most, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I thought it would, and it's a bit of a ghost story, effectively. So it's a bit more to what we're used to. So we're going to head there next.
So right, we're going to get back in the car and we're going to head over to Gaskins Wood.
Yep.
And we'll see you there.
Okay.
Hi guys, so here we are. We've just arrived at Gaskins Wood. We're going to head in and we will tell you the story of this place. This is my favourite story of the ones you've researched. It's creepy and not very nice. So, right, we'll see you in there. Hi guys, so here we are. We're in Gaskins Wood. This is a story that Brian told me about on the way here, on the journey down, and it captivated me a little bit, so I'm quite glad to be here. I'll read it to you and let us know what you think. In 1913, Henry Thomas Gaskin married his long-term sweetheart, Elizabeth Talbot, who at the time resided in the town of Hednesford. Great chip shop, by the way. Went years ago and we're going to go tonight over.
It's very nice,
great
wasn't
chip shop. Which borders Cannock Chase. They had a child quite quickly, and all was well until 1914, when Henry was sent to prison for minor theft. This revelation, as it would with any young couple, put a heavy strain on their relationship, until Henry's eventual release from prison on the Isle of Wight in 1916, when he, rather oddly, admittedly, signed up for the British Army and left to fight in the trenches. Now, what I will say about that is they did used to take a lot of convicts, and I'm not going to say bully them into signing up, but they often had clauses in prisons to actually release early if you sign up to serve for Her Majesty's Royal Forces. So maybe it wasn't all that willing.
Wow. Sorry. Thought I could hear a plane.
It makes you wonder how many of the UFO sightings were actually British Airways.
Oh, it's making me feel sick looking at that.
Alright, anyway, by the time he returned home, Elizabeth was pregnant with another man's child. To put it politely, Gaskin lost the plot. I won't turn your stomachs with the gritty details of the gruesome murder that transpired. If you want to know more, the information is out there. I'll have to research that. Have you researched that or not?
I haven't researched that yet.
I'll research more into that. Not that I'm a sicko, but it is interesting. But suffice to say, Elizabeth met her end in a scene not unlike that of which you might expect from the elusive Jack the Ripper himself. Okay, that's given me some insight into what he probably did, which I won't repeat. As a result of his crime, Henry Gaskin was hung at Winston Green Prison in Birmingham on August the 8th, 1919. Many people believe that the ghost of Elizabeth still wanders the woods in which she was so brutally murdered. So prevalent is this belief that since her death was discovered, the area has been strictly referred to as Gaskins Wood. That's quite twisted.
A little bit,
That's quite twisted. Obviously, unfortunately, one thing Cannock Chase is famous for is murders.
Yeah.
As we'll talk about later tonight in the Birches Valley area. But that's the story of Gaskin Wood. Makes you wonder. It doesn't refer to sightings. It doesn't refer to any sightings of Elizabeth.
So she might still roam.
She says she might still roam. So I would say it's more of a historical story than a ghost sighting. But who knows? With so many sightings of the black-eyed child being around, and you don't know, do you?
No.
It's interesting. Perhaps the gist that I got from that story is, with a reference to Jack the Ripper, is potentially killing woman with child. Perhaps the black-eyed child is something to do with that. You don't know. Maybe it's not Christine Darby or any of the other girls murdered by Rosamund Leslie Morris. Maybe it is something else. We don't know. Unfortunately, there is so many twisted tales like that across the chase. It's really hard to pinpoint. So right, we're going to head off to our next location now, which I believe is called, is it Chapel Lane?
Yeah, we're going to go to Chapel Lane, yeah.
I'm guessing you'll tell the story there. It's another UFO story, I believe.
Yeah, this one's quite a good one. It's pretty creepy.
Okay.
So
it's interesting, there is so many UFO stories around here.
Yeah.
Well, it is such an active skyway with military, commercial, so many planes going over. It does make you wonder.
It does.
Right, so we'll see you there. Right guys, so here we are, Shore Lane. We've just pulled over. There's nowhere really to get out of the car here, is there?
No.
So we've just pulled over and Brian's going to tell you the story of the UFO phenomena in Shore Lane.
Okay, so this story, as I said earlier, dates back from 2002. And this is very much a story of lost time or missing time, which is quite a common reoccurring theme with UFOs.
Well, that was the story at Pye Green as well.
Yeah.
So obviously unaccounted for time, and once again it's a modern abduction story. So it's not past; it's quite modern.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that's what happens when I go to the pub sometimes. Maybe, maybe I'm actually being abducted by aliens, and that's where the time goes.
And not lost in the pub.
Not lost in the pub.
Yeah, it's a good theory.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with that one.
Next time you go to the pub, you try that and see how that works for you.
Yeah. And if in the next video I'm doing it with a black eye, it didn't work.
So this story, this is quite a long story in the book, so I'm going to try my best to summarise this for you. But this story basically follows a guy called Andrew, who, it's important to note at the very beginning of this story that Andrew never actually believed in UFOs or aliens until the point of this happening to him. So this basically changed his perception on it. But it was about 9 PM in May of 2002. Andrew had attended a fitness class at Cannock Chase Leisure Centre, which he did quite often. And on the night in question, he thought, oh, it's quite a nice night out there. I'm going to go for a more scenic route home in the car. So instead of taking his normal route home, which would have took probably 15 minutes, he decided to take a longer route home. The journey that he decided to take would have added an extra 10 minutes on to his journey, so it's not too far. And as he did so, he had his windows down in the car and he was playing his music at the top volume, enjoying himself and just taking in all the scenery. And about halfway through the drive, whilst on Chapel Lane, Andrew started to hear a very loud noise, and he couldn't tell where the noise was coming from. And it was described as being quite a drony noise. Now, the noise was so loud that it actually came over the top of the music in his car, which was at full volume. And he stopped to try and figure out what the noise was. And to do that, he turned his radio off and turned the car off. And he heard the noise, and he couldn't figure out where it was coming from still. So
That's creepy.
It is,
That
yeah.
is creepy.
So
If you're on your own late at night driving and that happens, that's creepy. Just to note, Chapel Lane, is it you said?
Chapel Lane.
That's basically the junction we've just pulled up at. It's Chapel Lane to Shore Lane.
Yeah.
So we're literally exactly where he was.
Yeah.
We do try our best to hit the exact locations, don't we?
That's it. It gets even more interesting on the road that we're on towards the end of this story, actually. There's something really cool that happens to him, but he decided to restart the car and crawl forward. Restarting the car kick-started the radio, but something was different this time. The radio was not working properly, other than a lot of white noise that came out of nowhere. So all of this white noise was kicking out of the radio.
It's interesting, white noise.
White noise. Now,
that's
as you remember, he had his car radio on full volume. So the next logical thing that you would do is try and turn it down, because you've got a radio
if you've got
that's
white
on
noise coming through, that wouldn't be
at full
pleasant,
volume. Yeah. So he tried turning the volume down, the volume button wouldn't work. He then figured out that nothing that he tried in the car was actually functioning properly, and that's when something happened in the car that genuinely horrified him. From the white noise coming through the radio, Andrew then heard a noise come through and growl his name. And I think it's mentioned 3 times in the book that this actually happened, and as you can imagine, that absolutely scared the hell out of him, as you can imagine.
So thinking logically and skeptically, the only logical explanation for that, electronically, would be if perhaps he had a CB radio as well as a normal radio, and maybe that kicked in and somebody was winding him up, but then not very common in the UK.
Also, it wouldn't stop your car
even less common in 2002.
It wouldn't even stop your car from the volume from not functioning.
No. I think that was clutching at straws, don't get me wrong, but I can't see what else would ever have caused that.
Andrew then reports that the voice went on to roar his name 2 more times before disappearing into the scratching sound of the white noise. Just after this, he relays that control of his radio was once again relinquished to him. So as soon as the white noise stops,
the radio comes back.
Control of the car comes back. Shocked and confused by the incidents that had manifested, the bewildered plumber lit up a cigarette and began trying to work out what on earth, or off earth, had just happened. Before his cigarette was smoked to the nub, Andrew recalls hearing the drone noise again. He thought it had stopped for a few minutes when his radio went haywire, but now it was definitely back. Eager to find out what the white noise was, and perhaps suspecting a connection between the two and what had just happened to his radio, Andrew began to move. He drove slowly forward, scanning the skies for planes and helicopters and gliders or anything that could explain the drone sound, but saw absolutely nothing. Now this is where the story gets quite interesting, because as you said, we were on Chapel Lane and we made a turn towards Shore Lane.
Yeah.
Now this is where the story gets good.
Oh, we'll drive down Shore Lane when we leave. Well, the rest of Shore Lane when we leave.
Yeah.
So we'll film that, so anyone wants to see what Shore Lane looks like can see it.
Yeah. Well, when he was driving down Chapel Lane and Shore Lane was on his right hand side, he had a gut feeling that he needed to turn down into Shore Lane, and he didn't know why. He knew that he needed to go down there.
It's quite a sharp turn, isn't it?
Quite a sharp turn, and something was drawing him in, but he didn't know what. So anyway, he did it. He felt an intense pull of attraction and instantly knew that he had to make this turn. Once on this lane, he reports seeing for the first time 3 red glowing lights dancing around the sky incredibly fast like pucks on an air hockey table.
That's reoccurring as well. With regards to UFO sightings, I mean, to be honest, you know a lot more about UFO sightings than me, but even I know that 3 red lights, usually in a triangle formation.
That's actually what they did. They formed a triangle formation when they kind of noticed him.
Okay.
And
so
then
that
they formed...
is a very, very common UFO phenomena.
Yeah.
Which, once again, it makes it more interesting. So if you've got reoccurring stories with similarities, it does give it more credibility. Definitely more credibility.
And it's definitely not, this is not the only sort of triangular UFO story I've heard of Cannock Chase. This is just one of them.
I've heard triangular stories, UFO related, for years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But this triangular array of lights seemed to notice Andrew, and as Andrew described, they shot a red laser at his car. As it's noted in the book, Andrew left Cannock Chase Centre at around 9 p.m. He embarked on his journey home, which should have taken him no longer than 25 minutes. After what happened with the laser beam, he glanced at his clock in the car, and his clock time read 2:15 a.m. So, from that laser beam happening, in a journey that should have took 25 minutes, he suddenly lost 4 hours of time, or a bit longer than that actually. Totally unaccounted for, and obviously I don't know how you explain that one. His wife was terrified and scared, you know, as you can imagine.
Does the story go on to say that he definitely lost the time when he got home?
Yeah, basically his wife, I think he said he texted his wife to say that he was on his way back, and that was 9 p.m.
If you're talking radio malfunction, and then you looked at the clock inside the car, if you got an electrical fault, maybe it could have jumped or changed. But if the time has actually changed, and you know his wife's worried about him, then yeah, I can't explain it.
No,
can't explain it. And it's a terrifying thought, absolutely terrifying thought. It's a thought I think will stay with us tonight while we're wandering around the chase.
Yeah. Again, I think that's why this location does or did strike a lot of fear in us. Obviously, we haven't returned since we first originally came. But when you have this amount of unexplained phenomena, and I mean, this is just scratching the surface. This book in particular is full of stories, and there's many stories out there, not even in this book. So
I think the only thing we can take some comfort in is there's probably more attractive people in the local area to abduct than us too. So, you know,
probably.
If I was looking to abduct somebody, I wouldn't be my first choice. No, so that's all we can hope for. Yeah. Right, so next location, we're going to do a little bit more, hopefully. It's a location we've never actually been to before, though we've wanted to go for a long time.
Yeah.
We wanted to go last time we come to Cannock, but we ended up splitting up and spending the night.
Yeah, our plans changed slightly. They
changed. But... So we're going to do a little bit of an investigation there, maybe just a few experiments, should I say, more than investigation, before we head to meet people at Birches Valley. But it's actually the war cemetery, isn't it?
Yeah, there are 5,000 bodies buried there. Now, the war cemetery is actually for German and Austrian soldiers, basically, who died in the World Wars. Instead of transporting them back to Germany and Austria and their native lands, it was agreed that all of the soldiers that were buried and killed overseas would be basically brought to Cannock Chase, so all the families could basically come to one area and visit.
I believe, I could be wrong, but I vaguely recall that it was actually a prisoner of war camp at Cannock Chase.
It was all sorts.
So perhaps if they were prisoners of war, as well as maybe they brought them all together.
Yeah, they actually brought bodies from all over the UK, I believe, because obviously the soldiers were buried in different locations around the country. They actually exhumed the bodies and brought them all to Cannock Chase. Yeah.
Obviously, that's something that could certainly have disturbed spirits.
Well, that's the thing.
The bodies.
Yeah. So not only have you got ghost stories, there have been sightings, obviously, of spirits and ghosts in the cemetery itself. But there's also been moans and groans that have been heard, so lots of audible phenomena. And not only that, but there's apparently stories of a big cat creature in there that lurks. So possibly our very first cryptid creature that we can catch on camera. You never know.
Right, so we're going to go drive down Shore Lane now, so just so you can see where we're actually at, and we will head to the German cemetery after that, shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay, see you there.
Thanks.
So right guys, here we are at the German war graveyard. Graveyard was opened in 1967, I believe.
Yeah.
June of 1967. And since then there's been a lot of, well, there's been ghost sightings, there's been apparitions seen, strange howling has been heard here. So quite a few strange things. I read a story years ago that it was, I think they used to have security here, and I think it was a security guard actually run out of the graveyard after seeing an apparition of a German soldier. As we spoke about before, a lot of these bodies were exhumed and then brought here, and a lot of them were prisoners of war that died, so there's untold sadness here. I should imagine there's a lot of German pilots here who's... What was that?
What? What am I looking at?
I just heard a like a ringing of a bell.
Oh really?
That was really loud, I just not hear that.
I don't know, I think I was just concentrating on what you were saying, to be honest, but I just thought I heard footsteps behind me as well.
That was really loud, that was
Couldn't hear anything or see anything.
That was quite peculiar, that was really loud. Sorry, yeah, there was a lot of German pilots buried here, I believe, whose aim was once upon a time to actually take over this country and make it part of the Third Reich. I don't speak much German, but Achtung! I think that means warning, because I saw it on a packaging once. So I don't know what that means. But obviously we'll be listening out for EVPs and stuff. We will be listening out for German. Yeah. So, should we start just by having a walk around the graveyard?
Yeah.
So we've literally just entered. Our first time here. Perhaps have a walk around the graveyard. I think years gone by and sort of history teaches us that although what the Germans or the Nazis stood for was wrong, and you know, tyranny is awful, etc., I think when you look at the stories behind the soldiers, they were just fighting for what they were told. They were just digits. They
basically, yeah, numbers.
Probably, yeah, numbers. Don't get me wrong, there were some that did some awful things, but I think the majority of them were probably young men, young kids following orders. So with that said, we come here with respect.
Totally.
In the hope that whatever's here respects us too. I swore I saw a black shadow then over there.
Where?
I don't really want to use my torch. But there.
Okay. Do you want to go over that then?
What we do, actually I want to head in the centre. I want to set the REM pod up.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So a focal point, we'll set the REM pod up. So we're not actually going to be here that long. I don't know how fruitful this is going to be. Obviously not speaking German. But the spirits of any German soldiers remain, or pilots, members of the Luftwaffe, or the SS. Show us your presence. Come forth and touch this device. It's our way of knowing that you're here. The war is over. You may be at peace. The war is over. You're forgiven for your sins. You lay here on English soil in the loving arms of the ancestors that you tried to kill. You're forgiven. Times change and ideologies change. And they have. Now all we wish is for you to come forth and say something for us. Tell us your story. Tell us how you ended up here. Who sent you here? Come forth with any information that you can. The first noise I heard a minute ago, I said to you, it sounded like possibly like a growling bells, perhaps.
Yeah.
It was really loud. It sounded like thudding on the ground. Like, the best way to describe it is like, it sounded like, you know, a cow with a cowbell.
Yeah.
That's sort of heavy, but with a cowbell as well. I hope the camera picked that up. I'm not convinced it did. Because
Well,
you were pointing it at me, which is away from the sound. Obviously being a shotgun mic, but hopefully got something of it.
hopefully, yeah. Wouldn't mind listening to that. Do you have any messages for us? We've been told that there have been voices heard in this graveyard. We do come with peace and respect.
I'm just going to throw some historical names, just,
Yeah.
I'll say historical famous names, just to see if it actually stirs anything. If you recognise any of these names, come forth and touch this device, just like I am. Adolf Hitler. If you know Adolf Hitler, it is your duty to come and touch the object I just touched. It's your duty as a German soldier. I can hear footsteps, but then I can also hear fireworks.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill won the war. Are you worried about what happened to your families? They were spared. And Germany is once more a prosperous country, a peaceful country. Do you wish to move and be buried in the fatherland? Or are you happy to remain on British soil? How you feeling?
Cold. But I'm alright.
It's gone cold, but there's no breeze. It's just sort of dropped completely, hasn't it?
Why is it every time we come to Cannock it feels like it's sub-zero temperatures?
I don't know. It was last time we come. Wasn't it? It was literally frozen over last time.
Yeah, it was.
Shall we leave the REM pod there?
Yep.
I'll have a stroll over and see what its tea light is. So it is a tea light. That's actually a real candle in there.
Is it?
That's a real candle inside the vase.
That's really nice.
I'm going to use my torch just to see what it says. Sergeant M.S. Wiltowski, 13th of August 1948, age 48. Polish.
Did you just say that?
Corpse. It sounded like a roar.
Yeah.
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 I think that's a car or a motorbike.
I think
from a
it, yeah.
distance.
It didn't sound like it the first time though, did it? That made my blood run cold the first time.
Polish resettlement corpse.
Yeah.
That confuses me. I thought this was a German war grave.
It's German and Austrian.
That guy sounds Polish. Unless...
Well, he's also buried on his own.
I wonder if perhaps he was in charge of the prisoners, or... I know a lot of Polish servicemen, they actually brought over. I know a lot of them joined the RAF and fought for us during the Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
I do wonder, perhaps, if he was in charge of the prisoners or something.
What's that, mate? I think I'm seeing things.
Why?
Thought I saw somebody stood there.
That's happened to me a few times.
What's that?
I keep seeing like dark shadows next to the graves.
It's weird because you can see shadows when you do that, but some of them look a bit. Come forward and identify yourself.
I feel like, I can't explain it, like I'm expecting to see somebody or something, but not something that scares me.
What, like a karma presence or?
Yeah. Willie Jager. Walter Frubrich. Martin Abraham. Henrik Kessen. Franz Kunt. Sorry. I'm not laughing at the dead, but you can just guarantee, I mean, I have no prior knowledge of the people buried here. You can guarantee, so far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 graves, and I've read out a Willie and a cunt. It's just typical, isn't it? Right, back to it.
I don't know whether I can put this in the video or not.
Joseph Dell. Jacob Becker. Arnold Burke. Leo von Wolstacki. Johannes Hillier. Gustav Wilk. Ernst Pitch. Otto Balzer. Diederik Meyer. Gustav Bollick. August Dings. I don't know if I'm pronounced.
What?
I thought I saw something there.
Where?
Honestly, right, this is going to sound stupid. You see that grave there?
Which one?
Right there.
Yeah.
Is that thing with the thing on top?
Yeah.
Look, 2 back.
Yeah.
It was like there was a fucking dog sat there. Like a big...
A dog?
Yeah, like a dog. Like a big...
Cat?
It looked more like a dog.
So not...
It looked like a big black Labrador, but much bigger, just sat up like that with its paws down the front.
Okay.
That's really weird.
I mean, the story in here, the cryptid story, is the Black Panther.
It looked
Cannock
like
Chase Panther.
Right, okay, so we had a van come, looked like a security van, so we just popped over, knocked the cameras off and just popped over to see what it was. Before we got there, they turned away and drove away, so either they didn't see us or they're not too fussed. I'm not actually sure on the rules as regards filming here and doing investigations. I wouldn't say it. I'd say it's probably frowned upon, but we don't mean any disrespect, so that's that. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to set an EVP device recording, leave it recording here. I'm going to go around, reel off some more names, and perhaps we'll get a response with the EVP device over this side of the graveyard, we don't know. But on the whole, I'd say I'm feeling very at ease here, very at peace. So, I mean, would you agree, or?
Yeah, let's try it.
Stand it up there. Right, so let's have a stroll back down the graveyard. One thing there would have been with prisoners of war, etc., there would have been roll calls. Obviously these people would have been very scared being captured by the British and British war camps. They don't know how they were going to be treated, etc. So let's hope by reeling off some names we'll get, you know, sort of encourage some sort of response. Kurt Jean, Adolf Bruldo, Edward Winkler. Don't laugh. Can't stop laughing at people's names. This is really, really bad. Heinrich Bodecker. Adam Stieb. Heinrich Dickman. Do you reckon these are their real names, or do you reckon people have put them there just so I look like a dickhead reading them out?
No, I think they're real.
Theodore Ankerman. God, there isn't a W in front of that one. Carl Lind. Herman Klingberg. Robert New. Theodore Guslab. Bruno Moller. Max Gessler. Joanne Dumont. The fuck was that then?
Did you hear it?
Yeah, it was right behind us.
Yeah, like
It sounded like someone standing on the stick. What did I just read? Joanne Dumont. Joanne Dumont. Herman Heinrich. Richard Welsh. There's a lot of contamination. You've got the road just there. There was fireworks going off in the distance.
Yeah.
What I will try and explain is the noises do sound like they're coming very close and very low level. Like there's footsteps going through a room, floor. Right, I say, time's getting on, obviously we've got to go meet people.
Yeah.
I say we kill the camera now.
Yeah.
Spend maybe 10 minutes taking some photos.
Yeah.
And then head off to the Birches Valley area of Cannock Chase.
Yeah, sounds good.
But I definitely want to come back here again. Definitely. I want to spend an evening here, a full evening here. So I think it warrants it, with all locked off cameras, a proper setup here. So with that, we're going to say goodbye. We're going to snap some photos and we're going to head to the Birches Valley area of Cannock Chase to have our Halloween meet-up 2021. See you there.
It's a beautiful night, eh? Oh yeah, I know, that's true.
Well guys, we've made it here. There's a fair few of us following along.
And then walking down the middle of a road. Yeah, you need one of them flags like the guys do on the tours.
Taking over the road. I think we're going to split up. Some of us head to the German War Cemetery and some of us heading to Birches Valley. So, see you there. Right, we're split up into 3 separate groups. We've headed into the middle of the Birches Valley area. Been a bit of a interesting trek. We're going to do some... What app are you going to use?
We can do Solomon, we can do Necrophonics.
Do some Solomon.
I can start off with the bells because the bells attract. Solomon, and while I'm doing Solomon I can call for the actual murderer to come forward. And then I can do basically... After that, what I did in the Preston one is I can do, what is it called? Basically like a druid to bring like the children forward.
Okay, we'll roll with it for a bit. We'll film and join in.
I'm just going to set up a quick rem. If that's okay with everyone?
Yeah, yeah. Just roll with how you normally would.
Oh, nice.
We'll stick a rem here.
Makes a nice change to spectacle it. See how other people work.
That's what I love about working in big groups, because you all can work with each other, you all can pick off each other.
We avoided it for so long, to be honest. We spent so long just refusing.
I did.
Just because of contamination and different things, but
It's not
good to get out and meet people and see different experiments.
Right, so let's stick this here. I'm going to try something I like to call the bell experiment. So we know where both bells are.
Yep.
We'll ring that one in a few. Basically what you're doing is you're trying to get that one, the energy from that one, to connect to that one and see if the spirit will ring that. Or at least do something with it. I've ever had it work once.
Oh, you have had it work then?
I have had it work.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's brilliant when it works. See, I would have put it further in the woods, but I would have lost it. I call upon any energies, any astral beings, anything from the good or the negative to come forward. Use the sound of the vibration of the bells. We're not here to hurt you, we're only here to talk to you. Please use the vibration of the bells to come forward. So move on to song and why this is playing. Anyone know the name of the guy? Richard?
Raymond Leslie Morris, was the murderer.
I knew his name, I just couldn't remember it. I was looking at it yesterday as well.
And the body that was discovered here was of a young girl called Christine Darby.
Right, so when, just remind me about that when I do the good chanting. Because otherwise call upon Raymond Leslie Morris to come forward. I don't ask you, I command you to come forward.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
And I'll just do this very quick. There's a bell right here. If you can ring this. From this one, send the energy over to this one. Make one of them go off for me, please. See, I want to try at some point bringing the murderers in. Because obviously people's going to have questions of why. The young girls, obviously, they don't know why they were chosen or why they were, what happened to them. So try bringing him through and getting answers off him if we can.
I'm just reading a column between us two.
So, being a young girl, she might feel very comfortable.
That's what I think. Because we're in. Christine, sweetheart, if that's you, please hold these two ladies' hands. Do you know what that sounded like to me?
It's me.
Oh, I'm scared. I heard I'm scared.
Good.
Christine, if you're here, can you say your name or say hi for us?
Christine, come forward. What is it you try to show people? Why do you want people to follow you? Tell us, what do you need us to see?
I said buried. I'm swearing I just said buried.
Body was found.
Christine, are you lost, sweetheart? Are you trying to look for your mummy and daddy? We can help you, sweetheart, if you come forward, sweetheart, if you come forward and let us know. Who else is around here? That sounded like it said ape. You heard me. If that was you who said me, tell us who me is.
Did Raymond Leslie Morris murder you?
Raymond, are you here? Raymond, if you're here, what did you do to these three innocent young girls?
Raymond, why would you never admit to your crimes?
Sounded like it wasn't. You said it wasn't me.
He died in denial, he wouldn't admit to anything. Prison.
Raymond, this is a chance to cleanse your soul. To admit to what you did. Young, I heard. Why did you kill three young girls?
Elizabeth, does your soul rest here? You were killed carrying child. Is there anything you want to say to us?
What's these woods called? That just say. That sounded like it said it.
Tell us where we are.
Did you hear Cannock?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I heard Cannock.
It sounded like it said it in 2 syllables though.
Yeah.
Like 2 different voices.
Yeah.
That said leave.
What happens if we don't leave?
I hear movement over there.
Yeah, I'll keep it in movement behind us.
Whoever's in the shadows over there, come forward.
I can see something in that direction, but I don't know if it's on lights or...
It depends on where they are to us.
Yeah. It's just in these trees here.
Except the 6 people who are in this circle, how many other people are here as well?
Somebody else got a ring in their ears.
I did as we were walking into here.
Really high pitched ringing in my ears.
Is that you affecting people?
We'll see.
Whoever's around Emma, step back.
Your pains in your back.
Pardon?
Your pains in your back.
No, but I'm cold on this side, on my left. But I'm boiling, so I don't know if it's whether I'm more sensitive to the cold because I'm warmer.
Cold.
Who's with us right now? That sounds like bad. I'm going to ask all the spirits around these woods. Is there a such thing as a black-eyed child?
Yep.
That just said Raymond.
Did it?
I swear that just said
Sounded
Raymond.
like it, yeah.
Like it went Raymond, but in a female's voice. Can you say Raymond again for me? Can you say Woods?
Can you understand us?
That sounded like a whimper.
You got a REM-pod set up over there? Are you whack in the middle of this?
Yeah.
Turn around. So back. See if she'll approach.
I don't know why, but I feel eerie here.
Yeah, to be honest, it's up that end where I keep hearing footsteps.
I feel very eerie. Yeah, like something is just stood there watching.
Yeah, pretty much what I've got.
It just feels like something up there is just watching us. Right, so stick it about here.
If we all stand back and turn our backs to it.
And then I've got an idea in a second.
Christine! If you're here, come in the middle of us and touch the glowing light. Touch the light in the middle of us. Or make a noise. It's our way of knowing that you're here. If you don't show us you're here, we can't help you. Come and touch the light. And touch the red light. You can't do that, come and touch one of us. Tug at our clothes. Whisper in our ears. Do something to get our attention.
What was that?
So,
That was over there.
could have been one of the other groups when I first saw it.
sounded like a tree.
Oh, that was close. Sounded like wood bounce off a tree.
Yeah.
Sounds like something strolling.
Christine, is that you? It is, thank you. Please do it again.
Can you copy this for me? Because I'm putting parabox on. It's like an obulus.
Yeah.
Just in case it picks any words that it might want to say. Can you copy this?
Repeat the sound for us.
What's weird? Our voices ain't echoing in here. When we first stepped in here, when we were shouting, our voices were echoing.
Yeah.
Now there's no echo. Let's play a game. Copy the tune.
They're still all the trees are.
That went wrong. Let's try that again. Let's pick up the wood actually. Let the car go past that. Better than touching the walls with wood at this. Copy this tune for me.
I heard it. 166.
First word.
166.
666.
Oh, 666.
That says 666.
And there was wood on tree then. Was that you? Was that
No.
wood on tree?
Mine's here.
Was wood
I was
on
too
tree
busy
again?
looking at that.
Repeat that noise again.
Repeat this.
Just like that, but lighter. I think the other girls' bodies were brought here. But I think Christine was killed here. I think that's the difference.
Trouble. You trying to cause us trouble? Are you trying to say... Compare.
End.
Compare end.
Or we were just talking about...
The deaths of the
She
girls.
was killed here,
Yeah.
and they were brought here. That's comparing it, and her end was here. So if you can... Because some people would look at that and go, oh, that means nothing.
Slow.
Slow. That was
Slow
one
death?
behind.
Perhaps?
That's what I was wondering. There's one behind us and there was one that way.
What's
So,
that?
how was she killed? Does anyone actually know?
I don't know.
I would imagine it probably was strangulation.
I think
See,
it
I
was.
think the report was asphyxiation, but I can't remember.
So if it's
to be honest.
strangulation, slow. Like you just said, slow.
Yeah.
But it's come out end, then slow. If you put that in reverse order, sometimes I think like that, just reverse in order. Is that a scream?
I think it's a car
Didn't hear
over
one.
there. I think it's the tyres on the track.
I thought it was a scream.
To any of the little girls that Raymond,
Pull
can you
up.
come forward and tell us what he done to you?
That's an interesting word. Because what's meant to happen here? Witchcraft. Do you know,
Is that
with
the
the
bit-
dolls in the trees and that,
Yeah.
they believed that was witchcraft. Warlock is a witch. A male witch. That I actually find interesting.
Feet.
So,
Feet. Now we could take that two ways. Is
Yeah.
it something walking towards us, or is it we're feet away from where he did it?
just really weird. Like, this sounds stupid. I've researched Cannock Chase a lot in the past, but not for a long time. All I've done is just Google Christine Darley's name, condition writing, no pictures. I have got an image of her face in my head now. I know exactly what she looks like.
So,
Now, I have seen her face before, but not for years. Not
But is
since
that
2018 or something.
now
It's
the
really
reason
weird
I'm
how
gonna,
that image has just come in my head.
now the reason I'm gonna say that to you is with it saying feet, and me saying, are we feet away from it happening? And then could that be something saying, could that be her shoulder?
She's got like shortish dark hair cut straight round here.
Yeah.
So, well, lower than round here. And slightly sort of sad, slanted sort of eyes.
I get what you mean. Like them puppy dog kind of eyes.
Just, yeah.
Like basically when a kid is crying in a way.
I've got a picture of her I can show you.
Place.
Place. Now if we take away the rays, feet, place. Arm. This bird is trying to say what I think it's trying to say. Yeah, I get what you mean. I'll be honest with you. Christine, are you trying to tell us that your body was found in this place and that's why you're saying feet and arm? Okay.
That's interesting.
Step back, please. Chance that this could be the place. Step
Christine,
back.
do you recognise this face?
Let me reset it. 'Cause that shouldn't be like that. That's never done that.
That went off literally as I loaded a picture of Raymond Leslie Morris.
And that, it glitched. That's what made it even weirder. That's never glitched. I've never seen it do so. I've seen it go the full thing and everything else,
Yeah.
but I've never seen it stick to one colour the way it was doing.
Thank you.
And look.
Now step away from it and we'll know you're here.
How uncanny is that? Twice it's glitched, and it's not made a glitch all night.
It's weird how that was on command.
Hang on. Hang on.
So,
Switch torch on.
Wait.
No, it's not. There was a spider on the edge, but I've just knocked the spider off.
wait.
Sorry. Can you do that again for a third time, and we'll know it's you? Now, if that doesn't go off for the rest of the time. Yeah.
Come on then, do it again.
Now, what I find more interesting if it doesn't go off, because then it's not a malfunction in it. But even if I knocked the spider off, it should have gone straight back to normal.
Come on, one last time. Do it again for us, one last time. Wood on the tree. We've heard you hit the trees. We want you to touch the red button again. Touch the red light again.
What's interesting me about this is everything on this, as with everything that we've said about Christine and everything else, it's come back responsive to everything we've said.
I find it strange that do it on command as well.
And that did it, but now it's not doing it.
And they're knocking on the trees.
And that was a triple knock. But that weren't a car, because you know a difference between a car. That sounded like wood. Like someone went, do you know...
See, these trees, they will, as they move, creak at the tops, from the tops will touch. But the knocking on the wood sounds low down on the trees, it doesn't sound high.
Yeah, like a kid. Like a kid
Yeah.
would hit it on the thing.
Okay, I'll move back from the REM pod. I'll move back from the red light. Come and touch it.
There's a light over there. in the sky, flashing light.
Yeah.
Tell Brian that he'll be out like a whippet.
And it's not moving, and it's not a plane. But it's a red flashing light.
Right.
I can't even see it.
Point to it. Up there.
I'll have to come round to have a look. Oh, further down?
Yeah. Right in between the tree line. See it?
I can't see at the moment. I think I'm over enough.
Right there. In between them two trees there.
Okay.
You see it now?
Sluggishness.
Don't, to be honest.
It keeps really dimming and then coming up. It's just a red light in the sky.
Okay. Keep an eye.
I thought that as well.
I can see it's changing colour now.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's not a plane.
Yeah, I see it.
That ain't a plane, is it?
Where are we looking?
Right there.
Here they are. They found the way back. How'd you get on? Knackered.
Yeah, we did all right.
I thought you enjoyed the walk.
Well, no. But yeah, we've got some interesting things. K2, Spirit Ball, yours, and oh yeah, his name's coming through. Ghost Tuber said my name, and then immediately after it said Alex's name. Straight after.
We had a similar sort of thing. We had the REM pod going off on command. A lot of tapping noises on the trees.
We heard a little bit.
Replying back constantly. It was really weird.
Really
Yeah, it fell over again.
the idea that You've been here before now? No, I've done this one. Have you seen all the graves? I get loads of them.
What's that?
All graves.
How many red pods have we got in total? Have we got enough to cook all 4 doors? What red pod in each door?
Make sure you lock it. Fair play.
I was going to jab you with that, but I can't fucking see nothing in it.
Oh, I thought you did get him with it.
No, I was trying, but I kept walking into the trees, so I took it off of me.
coming to join us.
Lincoln's Wagen ist kaputt.
What's that? You spoke Jim then?
Left indicator on my ambulance is broken.
What did you say?
Left indicator on my ambulance is broken. Well, we're probably going to make it off anyway, aren't we? So yeah, we'll go and have a look. Catch you guys later. See you, yeah, we'll see you soon.